This is 37th Street Radio and TV. We're out here hooking you up with the best of the best interviews. And today I have another special guest as usual. So guest, I'll just let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Paul Mungala Mbuvi. I'm a TV presenter, father, and Kenyan citizen.
Yeah, so I just want us to go straight into it. For me, I knew you from K24. So
okay.
I just want you to tell us what was happening in your life career-wise before joining Mediamax.
Career-wise before joining Mediamax. Okay. So I don't know whether to start from immediately before Mediamax going forward, or I start from the very beginning going to Mediamax. Actually, I'll start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So education-wise, I went to Kenyatta University. I did my undergraduate in biotechnology. So that's basically what was what I was expected to do. So after clearing biotechnology in 2010, I joined the media through various forums. So I did a lot of comedy shows. I did a lot of prank shows. I did a lot of stage performances. That includes stand-up comedy, plays at the Kenya National Theatre, and so on and so forth, and basically just many other places. And then that's how I was discovered by major players in the radio industry. So I was called to work at Urban Radio in Kisumu. Did that for about a year. Actually, it was about 10 months, I guess. Yeah, about 10 months. From sometime in December of 2013 to September of 2014. Came back to Nairobi from Kisumu, got employed at 1FM literally immediately. So I left Kisumu, came to 1FM in Nairobi, did 1FM from 2014 all the way till 2017, when I started doing gigs at Mediamax. By gigs, I mean I would fill in for presenters who are not there. But still, while at Radio Africa, Radio Africa is the mother company for Kiss FM, Classic 105, East FM, which is majorly Asian Hindi station, Gukena FM, which is a Kikuyu station, and the XFM at the time, which was a rock station. Then, so when I was at Radio Africa, I worked at XFM, which is the rock station, worked at Kiss 100 and Classic 105 as well. But when I left there, I was working for Classic 105. That's when I got into TV. TV, I was just filling in for other presenters who would be away on leave, or they would go for their off days. So Mediamax told me, look, if you want to be here full time, you can come over. So I chose to leave radio because I thought I've been on radio for a very long time, because I also used to do volunteer radio jobs when I was in campus. So we had this radio station, it was called Kenyatta University Radio Service, popularly known as KUFM. So, I've done radio most of my life. I decided, since the opportunity to be on TV has presented itself full-time, why not? So I left radio, then got a full-time gig at K24 TV, which is owned by Mediamax, where I currently am since officially I started January of 2018 till now.
Yeah. So I just want I want to know, when did your interest for media really start? Because you have said that you studied biotechnology. So you see, just looking at that, I'm wondering how you even landed here where you are right now.
There's a rich history of media in our family. My mom has been on radio for a very long time. She retired actually last year, 2021. And she basically, since before I was born, she's been a radio presenter. She has worked for the what is it called? The national broadcaster, that is Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. She has worked at English service, KBC English service, KBC Kiswahili service, and then KBC Kikamba service. Now it's known as Mwato FM. Mwato is the Kamba word for beehive. So she has been in media for over 30 years. And I have watched her grow in this industry for all that time. So I figured, why not? In terms of the interest, that is where it started, because I've watched my entire life doing radio, and I've always wanted to do radio as much as I did my biotechnology in campus. Also, there's my late uncle. He also worked at KBC way before my mom started working there. So that's another thing. I have other cousins also in different media stations, and it is what it is. I think it's just in our blood as a family.
So again, you know, when you do your program, guys just you in the act doing whatever you're doing. I just want you to talk about what does it really take to prepare for a show like that one? Like, are you the level where you are now a professional, you can even do a show without preparing, or how does it happen for you? How long does it take in terms of preparation? What does it entail?
Initially, I would really prepare for any of my shows, whether it's TV or radio. I would really prepare. And what I discovered as I worked from urban radio to 1FM to Radio Africa is that you're always looking for content, because you see, radio is all about content. Even TV is all about content. So I am constantly looking for content, because something that you saw or heard last week might be relevant today, depending on what is going on. And so there's no one time you'll say that now I'm preparing for the show that is starting at, say, 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock. So preparation for different presenters depends. I am constantly preparing. So there's no one time I will say, okay, now guys, I need an hour to prepare for my show, which is starting in the next 1 hour. No. I am constantly preparing, but initially I would, have butterflies, and I would need, like, if my show is starting at 3, I'd start preparing for it at like 10 in the morning, because I need to know, okay, what am I talking about today? What's happening? I'll go through the papers, I'd go through the internet, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just to see what's trending, what people are talking about, and then find different angles of talking about that particular thing. However, nowadays, I will not say that I do not prepare, but my prepping is not as intense as it would be in previous years. I would literally walk into a studio and do my thing.
There's usually an advantage of doing a recorded show whereby if something doesn't go as planned, you can just edit it out when you are doing post-production. But you are doing a live show. So how do you deal with the situation where things do not go as planned and it is a live show?
Now that is where experience kicks in. Because let me give you an example. What if you're interviewing someone and then that person decides to start crying, for whatever reason? Maybe what you're talking about is sensitive to them. What you do at that particular point, you can decide to do one of two things. You can, we're talking about a live show here, right? So what you can do one of two things. You can either one, flow with them in terms of their experience, in terms of their emotion, give them time to deal with it, and then continue with your show. Or if it is something that could be disturbing to your audience, you could take a break. And that's the thing about, live TV. You have the option of actually taking a break. And your producers, your directors are always on cue to take that break for you. Because what if someone decides to, and this is live television, for example. So live TV, what if someone decides to strip naked right there in the middle of the show? You will need to take a break. And no sooner than you say, let's take a break, your director should be on cue to take that break for you. So that's the beauty of TV, for instance, because you're working with other people. For radio, it's still a team, but for radio, you have the option of switching off the mic and playing the music. So if someone decides, if it's on radio, for example, and then they decide to insult the president, or they decide to insult the Pope, you have the option of switching off their mic, apologizing to the audience, and then taking a break in terms of music. So you have to be prepared. You have to be on cue. You also need to know who you're talking to, who you're interviewing. Because if you know for sure you're interviewing a volatile person, you literally have to have a contingency.
Yeah, so again, I just want to know how you deal with guests who maybe show you an attitude or maybe we're just asking a honest question, and maybe to them it looks like you are trying to portray them in a certain way that they don't like. So I don't know if you have been in such a situation and how you deal with that.
There's this saying that goes like this. There are very many ways of skinning a cat. So again, it boils down to who you are interviewing. And this is where preparing for your show comes in. You will not just wake up one day and say, I want to interview Miguna, for example. And you know how Miguna talks. You know how he responds to questions. So it is up to you to know who your guest is and how best to prepare for that show. I would be an idiot to walk into an interview with Mike Sonko, for instance, the former Nairobi governor, knowing the kind of person he is and not be ready with questions or with comebacks for his responses. Yeah, so you need to know who you're talking to, and you need to understand how you can ask a particular question and still get the answer that you want. And also don't forget that perhaps how they respond and their reaction is what the audience is looking for. Perhaps your audience wants to hear the kind of responses Miguna has or Mike Sonko has. So it's up to you to be ready for your guests.
There's another thing that is usually very common in your field when it comes to now, of course, you are working with other co-hosts, and the thing is usually, I want to know, how do you create chemistry with other co-hosts so that even when you run a program, it looks like you are very much authentic and even the audience can relate to you?
I have been lucky or privileged enough to work with people that we have gelled from the very word go. No need for working on our chemistry, but there are other ways of working on chemistry, especially if it's there, but it's not really there, or if it wasn't there at all and you want to create it. Get to know who your co-host is, especially if it's someone that you have never met, never worked with. It is important for you to meet them in advance and get to know the kind of person they are. Are they talkative? Are they noisy? Do they like jokes? Do they make jokes themselves? Are they uptight? That will help you to know how to approach them. Because I have worked with people who are uptight, people who do not laugh, people who are hard to crack in terms of jokes. They don't even their ribs are uncrackable, for lack of a better word. But what do? You find a way to make them soft. You find their soft spot, and then you hit it. And once you do it once, twice, 3 times, soon enough, the cogs will move flawlessly.
And then there's this argument, and I know you have even had it over time. This is between, when we look at the traditional media and the social media, there are talks that the traditional media is dead. This is radio and TV. So I don't know where you really stand when it comes to this argument.
Come again. I don't think I understood your question. Traditional media, social media. What's the question there?
So like you see, we have seen the growth of social media. We have YouTube. We have guys uploading podcasts on Spotify and on those sites. So there is this talk that the traditional media, the radio and the regular TV is dead and it's going to be phased out. So I don't know where I stand.
I do not think traditional media will die. For instance, I don't think radio is going to die. I don't think TV is going to die. Newspapers, for instance, are transitioning from what you used to flip in terms of papers to what you flip on the internet. So they have adopted newspapers for the tablet, for the phones, which is a good thing because there are people who still need to read. And I'll tell you one thing for sure. The best place for information nowadays, and when I say best place for information, I mean authentic information, is still traditional media. It's still TV, it's still radio, it's still the newspapers, because they have been industry leaders for a very long time. So in that regard, I don't think they are dying. They're just adapting with the times. Because very soon we are going to stop cutting trees. And by extension, we're going to stop reading newspapers. We're going to be reading them on a computer. We're going to be reading them on a phone and a tablet. Radio, for instance, when you're driving, you still need to listen to breaking news and what's trending and so on and so forth. That is not something you will get from YouTube. That is not something you will get from Spotify. Spotify, you will make your own playlist. iTunes and the likes, you will make your own playlist. You will never get breaking news from iTunes unless you can, I don't know. I personally, I don't consume it. But you get what I'm trying to say. If you want to get authentic and real news, because there's a lot of fake news out there. Fake news on Twitter, fake news on Facebook and IG. But if you want to get real news, at the end of the day, when you hear that news from K24, for example, you can trust that news because they have established that rapport between the audience and themselves. So whenever you hear something on K24, you're rest assured it's not a lie. But today I can log into your IG and you post something, so-and-so is dead, just for me to find out 2-3 hours later that that person isn't dead. And then you have to give an apology, you know? So social media doesn't have the ethics that TV has or the radio has. And we still need those kinds of media because they have gone a long way rather in disseminating information.
With the increase in technology, I want your views on this subject. So if somebody comes to you and maybe they want advice, they want to be in the media space like the way you are in the media space, and they ask you, should I go to school or should I, if I have a little investment, can I just buy a camera and a mic and start learning and training myself until the day that I get perfect? So like, how can you advise somebody to in that situation?
I would definitely advise someone to go to school. School will teach you things that even the job market can't teach you, the same way the job market will teach you things that even school can't teach you. So you need both. As in, you cannot, we have people who've thrived without having gone to school, and that's a good thing. But it's a once in a blue moon kind of situation. You see, for example, let me tell you, if you don't go to school, you'll never learn things like media ethics. You'll never learn communication theories, for example. And we're just talking about now in terms of media and entertainment. There are things that the job market cannot teach you if you never went through the school. The job market will never teach you social skills. You just setting up your camera in your bedroom to do your podcast doesn't necessarily give you the kind of prowess the late Larry King Live had, or what people like Jeff Koinange have in terms of their skills in the studio. Those are things you may have the talent, fine. You're good at your job, fine. But there are things you have to go through school for you to know. And the 4 years you take in a university or a college will show you, will teach you so much more that you now can apply in the job market. Yeah. So I would definitely tell someone, regardless of how good you are in your space, imagine just go back to school. Yeah, because even advancing in the job market, someone with a PhD, for example, or a master's degree, or even an undergraduate degree, is better placed when it comes to promotion than you, who is a big-time superstar, you know, because all you have is that stardom. But when it comes to pen and paper, someone else is better than you. So why not have both? Be the superstar in terms of your talent, and also have the skills in terms of knowledge.
When you look at your career from when you started and until the level where the position which you are right now, can you say that maybe you have achieved what you always prayed for?
I would say that I am thankful for what I have, but I don't think I've gotten to where I wanted to, because at this point in my life, yes, I am driving a car. I am paying my own rent. I am paying my children's school fees. I'm taking care of them. But I would like to have more than this. And that is what you discover after every level of success you've achieved. Once you're done with your KCP, for example, you want to do your KCSE. Once you have achieved amazing grades for your KCSE, now you want to do your undergraduate. Once you do your undergraduate degree, you get into the job market and realize, oh my God, people have masters. Yeah, you want now to get into your master's program and do your master's program. So it's the same thing with other levels and forms of success. Once you buy a Toyota, you realize, oh my, people are driving Subarus. I think I should get a Subaru. So you work hard for your Subaru. Once you get your Subaru, you realize, oh, I can actually own a Passat. You work hard for your Passat, and so on and so forth. Once you get a Passat, now you drive in levels where people are driving Range Rovers, and you want to get a Range Rover. Once you get a Range Rover, you realize, okay, now it's time to get a Ferrari. So I don't think you will ever get satisfied with achieving the next level of success. So am I at a good place? Yeah. Do I want more? Definitely yes.
Yeah, so even as we are finishing up, I just want you to talk about, from your experience working on radio, TV, I want you to talk about the most important lesson that you have learned throughout the journey.
The most important lesson, well, actually there are many. I would say one of the many lessons, because like I said, all of them are important. But one of the very many lessons I have learned is I thought I knew everything until I got here. Before I got on radio, I used to think I can do better than that guy, you know, the presenter that was on radio at that time when I was listening, whether it's in the morning, mid-morning, or evening drive. I'd be like, I think I'm better than mine again. Until you actually get behind your own microphone and then you realize, wow, this thing is not as easy as it sounds, you know? And yeah. I came to discover that you're only as good as your last link. Because there are times I am on air and then I ask myself, what the hell did I just say? You know? And you have to make the next link better than the last one. And that's how you work every single day. So I thought I knew everything until I discovered I did not know anything. So that's one of the biggest lessons I have learned, that in this profession, you're always learning something new every single day.
For guys who are starting out, be it in business, be it in the media space, I just want you to give them advice. Yeah.
People who are starting out, what I would say is, and this is something that I think I've also suffered from all the time, and it is something that has been said over and over by every motivational speaker out there. They will always tell you, it doesn't matter how many times you fall, just try. And I'll give them the same message because it is the same one that has gotten me to where I am. I don't think I would have been in radio if I hadn't tried. And by extension, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't tried. So knock on those, TV stations, radio stations. If it's business partners you want to partner with, by then you have got nothing to lose. The only thing you will lose is actually nothing. You have absolutely nothing to lose. If you want to, and this is what I tell people in terms of, especially those ones who are in my DM asking for jobs. But you Niaje, please hook me up. I want to be a radio presenter, TV presenter. Me, I tell them, Fanivi, come to the HR office with your CV, with your demo. Tell them this. My name is Paul Mbuvi, and this is what I can do. I need a chance. And if they tell you there's no chance, don't give up. Ask them, then when can I come back for that chance? Because at the end of the day, what a potential employer will be impressed with is resilience and the drive to do what you love doing. So if it's business, if it's a job opportunity you're looking for, don't just DM guys, walk to those offices and tell them, yo, I sent you an email 10 years ago. I am here to find out if you still have that job for me.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me your time. I'm very grateful.
Karibu sana Barry.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.